first question. When you're in the presence of other races and ethnicities, what goes through your mind about what they think of you and what you think of them?
I actually don't think about it very much. When I see somebody like of different ethnicity than me, like I obviously notice it that they're of different ethnicity, but I don't really think much of what they think of me or what I should think of them. Like they're just another person, and I don't really go into much deep thought about it.
What are your thoughts on the civil rights movements during the 1950s and early 1960s, and that do you feel that they've done enough justice in our society up to today and preventing prejudice, discrimination, and segregation?
I think it was all work in progress. I mean, there was obviously after the Civil War, they had to abolish slavery, and then came the Jim Crow laws where they still had segregation, but over time, racism started dying down more and more. They made sure that equality was like properly given to each citizen of America. But I think it also depends on how you were brought up. Like there are still racist people in the world, or racist people in this country for that matter, and the message doesn't always get to everybody. And there are still might be some people out there who are still a little prejudiced, a little judgmental towards certain ethnicities. So overall, I'd say that it has progressed a lot, but there's still a small piece of racism that hasn't died yet in the minds of some people. And I think they've done the best that they can so far to keep things equaled out. It's up to the individual people themselves to properly treat people right.
I guess this ties in with the other question, but I guess I should ask this one first. But what are your general thoughts on prejudice, discrimination, segregation in the 1950s and early 1960s, and the prejudice, discrimination, segregation you see today?
I think it was a lot worse back then. Like even if you watch older movies, there weren't as many black people, in Hollywood. But now there's beginning to become more and more equality in movies and even in sports for that matter. There's a lot more. There's all sorts of ethnicities in football and in baseball and basketball. More minorities are allowed to play, and more minorities are allowed to be in movies, and even in even foreign films are becoming more popular in this country. And you think that was a good answer?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other general thoughts you'd like to give?
I think that racism isn't dead, but at the same time, there are some cases where people they judge somebody, or they try to predict on how a person is going to act based on their ethnicity, and sometimes how they act or how they would react to something. And I think that's open to interpretation on whether or not that would be prejudice or not. Racism isn't dead, but racism is also a strong word. Just because somebody is trying to guess how someone's behavior is based on their ethnicity doesn't exactly mean that they're thinking in a racist mindset. Does that make sense?
Yeah, okay. That's a good point, actually. Okay, that's actually all the questions I have.
Okay.
We good? All right. Thanks. Thank you so much, George.